Hey y'all, I'm Kimberlyn, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone.
Man, when I tell you, I really do love that theme song. Like, I really, intro, I really, really like it. Like, I just really, really, really do. I really do. Hey, y'all, come on in, find a comfortable spot, and take a seat. I'm grateful to have you here with me for episode 26 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. It is okay if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. It just means that when you come ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to support. So before we got started, me and the inner circle were having an entire conversation, and I'm thinking about clipping some of it because girl, I be having thoughts, okay, and possibly some unpopular opinions. But I just wanted to shout that out at the top of here because. I'm really loving what I'm building, y'all. I'm sliding on into the IT check-in, honey. I'm just sliding on in there because I'm really loving what is being built. Minding my black ass business was birthed out of me having a desire to do just that, to mind my black ass business and not understanding why they just don't let us do that. Why don't they just let us mind our black ass business? They just can't because they're fascinated with us. They're fascinated with our greatness and our magic and like all the things, right? So minding my black ass business was birthed out of that. It was birthed out of activism and exposing what was happening in the school improvement system in Pennsylvania and in the U.S. Now we see. But it was also this like, I'm finna do what I want because I done tried to do it y'all way and y'all be lying. And this doesn't work. So I'm gonna do what I want. Okay, so I'm gonna go on over here. I'm gonna leave this country. I'm about to twerk on the internet. I'm about to twirl around in circles. I'm about to go to parks. I'm about to blow bubbles. I'm about to do what I want because I haven't gotten a chance to do that because y'all are liars. And since then, it has evolved into a movement, a revolution, a hub of black excellence. And when I say black excellence, I don't mean that in the bougie way. I mean that in the gifted way. That minding my black ass business is becoming a place to be able to launch and birth and support and care for people that are black and simply are saying, I just want to mind my black ass business and support other people to do the same. Like literally. And so like a lot of things that I do, it starts out like, oh, I'm gonna just make a t-shirt, and then it turns into an entire thing. And that's what happened with this as well. So, having said that, a big part, not a big part, the main part of the sustainability of Minding My Black Ass Business and the work that is being done happens in the Patreon, which is called the Archive. So over the past few weeks, I've been explaining to you all like how the archive is set up, and everybody who is in the archive is a keeper, and you decide what types of things that you're going to keep and what types of things that you are going to discuss and elevate. And there are different collections and areas that you can gather to have those conversations, and there are chats and like all of this. So I'm just so proud of what is being built. And I really do feel like right now it is a if you build it, they will come type of situation because we are going to need those safe spaces quickly, quickly. Um, And so I'm grateful that the infrastructure, if you will, was kind of already there and the ideas. And I'm grateful for the brand bestie for being able to help me to make that make sense and to really develop that out and to be such an incredible thought partner as I am literally like creating this place for us to be able to gather and to support each other. And every time, so this week I was working on recording videos, so introduction videos and like orientation videos, so that you know how to navigate around and know what the different areas are, and you get to hear it, from me as the founder and visionary of the space, like what the different places are for and purposes, just so that you can come in, kick your feet up, baby, and let's get it popping. So anyway, I was recording the videos this week, and after every video that I recorded, I was just like, man, this is so dope. Like, I'm so proud of myself of what's being created. And it has just been really exciting. So I have been immersed in that over the past, little bit, because I told y'all I'm finna take this break. Okay. And this break is really, really necessary for me to be able to make it make sense and to be able to restore, to go out and fight on another day, if you will. So this is a part of that, is getting everything kind of set up. And this the Patreon, y'all, has been such a huge part of this, because that's the hub. So that's probably been the biggest lift in everything that I've had to do. And then I've also been recording the episodes that are going to come out while I'm on break. And that's been a good time as well, in talking about some of those things and sharing more about who I am and how I got here to this place in life, and to give y'all little tidbits, because there are so many places that you can go to find out more information about who I am. And I don't want the Frolicking Truth to like turn into my personal vlog, because I actually like do different vlogs and things. But I want you to know who you're talking to. I believe it is important for you to understand who you're talking to. And I also believe that you can see yourself in other people based on the different experiences that they've had. And I know that I have had some very interesting intersections and experiences. So it creates a very intentional type of audience that's here. So I'm really excited for those of you who are here. I don't remember. I think last week I forgot to do a subscriber update, y'all, which is like wild. How did I forget to do that? Oh my God. But so I don't really remember what the numbers were the last time that I said the numbers. But what I want to tell you is what the numbers is right now. Okay. Now I'm recording this on Wednesday, October 29th. And right now we are at 1,497 subscribers. Probably by the time this air, we're gonna be at 1,500. And you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be shaking my ass on the internet, because y'all have no idea how um the journey that has been to like get to this place of saying, okay, I'm going back to YouTube. I'm gonna dedicate time. I'm gonna be consistent. My people gonna find me, and I'm gonna trust that we're gonna be there. We're gonna be growing and learning together and all of that. So there are almost 1,500 of you all that have said, let's tap in. And I'm so deeply grateful for that. What I also want you to know is that there's more stuff that's coming. So we have a new podcast that's going to be premiering on Minding My Black Ass Business next year. And I know I keep talking about it and I haven't given y'all too much information. The Patreon going to get the first look though. Okay. But this is what I want to tell y'all is we have been organizing and recording behind the scenes. And I just be sitting there like, this is a good time. Like, I'm there, and I'm in the conversation, but I'm also like outside of the conversation looking at it as a viewer. And I'm like, man, this is such a good time. Like, the conversations that we're having are just so intentional and impactful. And because there are four of us, we have like different insights and different experiences, and we each have our own segments, and that we kind of own that. So it is just such a good time. So I can't wait. I cannot wait for y'all to see what we have been working on and introduce new people into the Mind of My Black Ass Business universe, and for y'all to find them and fall in love with them and support them. Like, oh my God, it's the best. I just be sitting there like, so good. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. That will be coming in the new year. And we'll get like some kind of teaser or something together to let y'all see what the vibes are like. But I'm telling you, it's a really good time. The Healing Circle is next Saturday, November 8th at 12:30 Colombian time, which is also 12:30 Eastern time in the US. And you can register for the Healing Circle at tinyurl.com/Black Women Healing Circle. Remember, we do yoga in this space. We do breath work. We have time for affirmations and time to just connect with our bodies and our spirits before we go off and enjoy the rest of our day. The comment here said, I don't like putting that pressure on my brain. I just Googled the time difference. And I probably should just do that, but then also it just be a lot. My brain people get scrambled when it comes to time zones. I tell you, it is really, really wild. There was another comment that said daylight savings time is gonna get dark at 4 o'clock. Yeah, it's coming up. So listen, guard yourself and gird yourself so you're ready. It's coming up on Sunday, November 2nd. All right, but y'all gonna get an extra hour of sleep, So you know, that's the benefit, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But here, we gonna still be on the same time. So there's that. Okay, I wanted to uplift again that I'm collecting interest for the Sisterhood Heals book study. That is also something that will start next year. So, Sisterhood Heals is a book by Dr. Joy Harden Bradford, and it really is an amazing book. And it really talks about our understanding of sisterhood, how we got our thoughts and ways that we show up with other women, how we think about other women. Y'all, side note, I ain't finna get into this, but I'm gonna have to talk about it somewhere. Y'all, down to that Facebook, child, down to that Facebook. So y'all know I've just finished talking about these. Well, maybe I wasn't talking about that here with the inner circle a little bit ago. I was talking about these young women that I really, really appreciate, and I was specifically talking about Kiki Palmer. Well, another young woman that I really appreciate is Megan the Stallion Pete. Okay. And she is just, again, has been through so much publicly, has done it with so much grace, and is like learning who she is, living her life, and being free from people's expectations of her and all that kind of stuff, right? So, anyway, she done dropped this new video called Love a Girl. And baby, the those of us in the comments are like, my God, today, girl, that ass is thangin'. Like, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work of art. Okay, her body is gorgeous. She is beautiful, and she's a good rapper. Like, she's very, very talented. She's smart. She got a whole college degree, baby. She's a businesswoman, honey. Like, I just really appreciate Meg. So I had made a post on the Facebook because I'm in the comments, and I'm reading all the comments of us as women who are like, girl, yes. Also, a bitch need lessons. Also, yes, girl. Also, why is this 5 hours long? Like, it was just on loop. Like, we're just in like, girl, yes. Right. And so I had this thought, and I was like, do guys do that? Like, do they have, like, can they admit that another man is attractive? Like, can they say that's a nice looking man, or he has a nice body, and it not be sexual? Because the other thing is, this is how I know that sexuality is not a choice, because with women walking around like Megan the Stallion, you think I want to deal with these raggedy men that's out here? Now, I'm not saying all men raggedy, but a lot of them are. You think I want to deal with these raggedy men out here when there are women like that out there in the world? There are women like me out here in this world. You think I want to deal with raggedy, emotionally unintelligent men? You think I'm choosing this? Not. Okay. So, anyway, at the root of all of that, I asked this question and I'm like, gentlemen, are you all able to look at another man and say that he's attractive or whatever? Child, it's wild because the ones so there are some very loud voices who are like, hell nah, we ain't wired like that. Nope, no way, no how. We ain't thinking that. Cause I was like, basically, I'm at this point like gawking over Meg, like, girl, like, oh my God. And not in a way like I'm minimizing myself, just girl, you are it, like in your bag right now. And as women, we do that a lot for each other. So anyway, I want to know if the men do that, child, they was feeling some type of way in them comments, right? So then people are saying, like, women are asking their husbands, and like a couple folks came back. One person I went to high school with, she was like, I know men who would be able to say that another man looks good. I also, Kimberlyn, personally know men who would be able to say that. There was another man who commented on there and he was like, if somebody can't say that, then that says a lot. If a man can't say that, that says a lot about him and his relationship with his sexuality. Like, why can't you admit that another man looks nice? But also, that man is from a different country. So that might be a different brand of masculinity. But, I'd be performing these social experiments, is my point. And it's really interesting. I brought all that up to say of how men do not really show up for each other. They don't, and this is a generalization, I understand. They don't have the emotional depth to be able to actually hold each other and be there for each other and actually support each other. So they have these surface as conversations and surface as lives. And as women, we are actively, for the most part, the people that I surround myself with, we're actively looking for deeper relationships. So something like Sisterhood Heals helps us to go back to understanding our relationship with women and how that was developed and where the work is that we need to do to be able to have healthy relationships with the other women. Because what I'm going to tell you is that who really holds it down throughout our life are your friends. And I know, especially to my young women out there, I know that a lot of times romantic relationships are placed as a hierarchical at the top of the relationships that you should be having. And while partnership is amazing, what I want you to know is that your friends are the people who really be holding you down in life. And so you can't forsake those friendships and those sisterhood relationships because now you got a man, now you got a partner, now you got somebody, and now you just kicked your friendship to the side. When your friendship was here, when you was crying, when you was trying to figure things out, when we didn't know, when you needed advice, when you needed support, when you needed somebody that needed to be there for you. Your friends are the people that held you down. Not that man, because these men's they comes and goes. These partners they comes and goes, but your friends, your real friends, they're the ones who are there. So we have repair that we need to do with our sisterhood relationships, and we need to put respect and value back on those relationships. There's a comment here that says, "Yes, I was telling my daughter and her roommates this." Yeah, society will have you thinking that once I get this, I don't need that. And that's just not true. So if you're interested, go to tinyurl.com/sisterhood heals and we'll do that work together. All right. The comment says, I told them to put the forgiveness and energy that they put into their romantic partners into their friendships because the romances come and go, but the real friends are there through everything. So, our young ladies, please, please take note. Our young people, please, please take note. Invest in your friendships. It's really important. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the things for today. So I don't know if I put this in, I guess I could put this in Frolicking in the feed. And let me actually start with, I got notes, y'all, because my brain be scattered and sometimes I be in one place and then I'm like, I want to start here. I want to start there. Let me see. All right, so where do I want to start? I guess let me start at this. Let me give a disclaimer and be like, I might cry. Okay, I might cry today. And actually, I didn't even help myself by getting myself a paper towel or nothing, child. So let me go ahead on and get myself a paper towel.
A few moments later.
All right, I'm back. Back like she never left. All right, so today we're talking about Dia de los Muertos, and I wanted to say I might cry because I might. Dia de los Muertos is a holiday in Mexico, and it Dia de los Muertos stands for the Day of the Dead. That's what it translates to. But it's actually not just one day. It's actually a whole like week of remembrances and celebrations. So, what I want to do is first, let's introduce the different days for Dia de los Muertos, and then I'll give you a little bit of background about my experience with Dia de los Muertos. So, again, this is the Day of the Dead. A lot of times you will see skeletons that are associated with the Day of the Dead. And what's interesting is I grew up thinking that Dia de los Muertos was demonic because in the flavor of Christianity that I grew up with, anytime there was a skull or something that was involved, devil, immediate devil. Okay. It actually has nothing to do with anything demonic at all. And it's actually a really, really beautiful holiday. So there is about a week of festivities, and basically, Dia de los Muertos is a holiday. Again, it's a Mexican holiday that honors those who have gone on and transitioned to the other side. So it kicked off on October 27th for our four-legged family members and pets, and they always come and visit first. So the pets, when they transition to the other side, they're called alebrijes. And so they lead the way, they lead the charge for this Dia de los Muertos. Okay, and I'm going to show us a clip in just a second to kind of give you a little bit more context. October 28th is for those who died suddenly or in a violent way. October 29th, which is today, honors the drowned or forgotten souls who have no one to pray for them. October 30th remembers the souls without families. October 31st, get ready to receive the rest of your ancestors. November 1st, babies and children return home. And then November 2nd, the official last day, honors all adults. So when it says return home, you might be saying to yourself, well, what exactly does that mean? So let me pull up our clip. So if you've ever seen the movie Coco, Dia de los Muertos is very it is very authentic to the way that Coco describes what's happening. So, I'm going to show the trailer for Coco and then I'll explain like a little bit more about how Dia de los Muertos works. Basically, as they described, the whole point is for the ancestors to cross back over into the land of the living to commune with your family one time throughout the year, and that's during this Dia de los Muertos time. So, in the clip, you may have seen that there were ofrendas or different it translates to altar, but it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing as far as like worshiping because it's not about worshiping. But the ofrenda is created with images and pictures of the ancestors that have come before you. So the whole point of Dia de los Muertos is when your ancestors come back, you put their picture onto the ofrenda, and then you are able to invite their spirits back into communion with the family during that time, and you celebrate them and you tell stories about them, and you really just create intentional honoring of their presence. So you all may or may not know I lived in Mexico City for quite a while. And I, one of the things that I was really, really intentional about doing while I was in Mexico City was seeing how they honored Dia de los Muertos in Mexico City because um, I wanted to understand, like, I wanted to understand what what the holiday was about and what people like do during this time. So, my orthodontist is someone that I grew to build a very deep relationship with when I was living there. And so I was telling her, I was like, I want to do Dia de los Muertos. I want to learn all the things. So she was like, okay, now this is what you got to do. Now, the first thing is that you have to have marigolds on the ofrenda. So, marigolds in Mexican Spanish translate to cempasúchil or cempasúchiles. They are the flor de muerto is something else that they're called. So the flower of the dead. So I'm going to show you what marigolds look like so that you know, but it's those orange flowers that we're showing in Coco. So what you're supposed to do with the marigolds is you take the marigolds and you place them around, and then you might use the petals or the flowers to have like a path towards your home, because the marigolds give a fragrance, so they are supposed to lead your ancestors back towards your home, lead all of the ancestors back towards the land of the living, because everybody is putting them up. So you do that. Then you also place pictures again of each of the ancestors that you want to honor onto your ofrenda. And you can also place pictures of your pets. Again, pets are called alebrijes, and they are like spirit guides or spirit animals. So they are also placed on the ofrenda. You put candles on the ofrenda to light the path for the ancestors that are coming. You also put water on the ofrenda because it's been a long journey. So they want, to have some water to be able to quench their thirst. Then you put their favorite items, so their favorite foods or their favorite thing that reminds you of them. So, for instance, in Coco, the family made shoes. So there were shoes on the ofrenda because that was something that was important to their family. So you do that. Like, so for me, when I did my first ofrenda, I had my dog, Jack, on there, and I put Brussels sprouts and carrots because Jack loved vegetables. So you just want to put like their favorite thing on there. You also put salt so that they can season their food. Ain't that the Mexican people say, baby, you got to have that seasoning. So then that's how you set up your ofrenda to have everything ready for the ofrenda. And then again, during that time, you're going to tell stories about the ancestors, what have you, whatever. So when I was living in Mexico City, I got a chance to go to the Zocalo, and Zocalo is the city square. And it's like where the president's house is and like all of that, where their huge flag is. And there were like ofrendas just all around everywhere. It was so amazing. So then also you might see the Catrinas. I'm saying it wrong. Catrinas is what it is. Okay, so Catrinas. La Catrina is important to Dia de los Muertos because she symbolizes the cyclical nature of life and death, reminding people that death is a natural part of life to be celebrated and not feared. So the Catrinas are there to basically let us know everybody is gonna die. It is a part. It is a part of life, and maybe they come as the in that form because it's more approachable, or what have you. But we don't have to be afraid of death. Is basically the point of the Catrinas. So you might see those around. You see the alebrijes. Again, the alebrijes are the pets, and so it was a whole big old thing. Like it was just amazing. They have a huge parade. And I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of people. There's a fireworks show. There are all of these ofrendas. It is a really, really big deal. I'll find the videos and put them in here so that y'all can see them. While I was there, there in Mexico City, I really got an understanding of how important Dia de los Muertos is and why it's important. And it has now become my absolute favorite holiday in the world. It is because it is so meaningful, and I didn't know that. So, Coco, that movie, I'm gonna first say if you have not watched it, have you some tissues with you when you watch it, because the whole concept in the movie is that there is someone who is trying not to be forgotten. And a confession that I have is I have a fear of being forgotten. And it comes up every time I talk about Dia de los Muertos because I always ask myself, whose ofrenda will I be on? Because I don't have any children. So who gonna be talking about me? And it is, I lightweight sometimes be obsessed with it, and I'm, trying to work myself through that. But it is a very interesting feeling to know that there's a real possibility that you may be forgotten. And if you do have children, this might not be something that you concern yourself with because clearly your kids are going to remember you. But if you don't, who's actually going to put me on the ofrenda? So I feel like that without knowing that, that has driven a lot of the way that I live my life because this concept of legacy is really, really important to me. But it also made me realize and understand how little connection that I do have to my ancestors and the way that our family, on both sides of my family, were just so completely disconnected that they're like it's hard. There, I don't know if this was Color Purple. Somewhere they said it's hard for a girl child out here to not know who she come from or something like that. And I might be like mixing up a whole bunch of different things, but life is much more difficult when you have no understanding of who you are, where you come from, who your people are, what was important. Like it's really, you have to figure everything out for yourself. And that's how a lot of my life has felt. So in the past like 5 years or so, I've become really intentional about trying to understand my family lineage and history and like family trees and things of that nature. And it's interesting because my cousins and I have gone about this differently in different ways. So my cousin Kalanda, that is on So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese with me, she had did like this family gathering in 2019 where we had a chance to talk to my great aunt. And my great aunt is the last one living of those siblings. There were four of them. And my great aunt shared with us that our great great grandmother, wait, my great great grandmother was indigenous, and our great great grandfather was white. Now we don't know what flavor of white or where he came from, but we received that piece of information. So then that became very interesting, especially for somebody like me, where people have asked me what I'm mixed with my whole life, and I'd be like, I'm black and mixed with black and some more black. I'm just black, because people would look at my hair and they'd be like, what you mix with? Because that, I don't know. Or they will look at my nose or whatever. So it was an interesting piece of information to get. Of course, I know there has to be white somewhere. Like I'm not super, super dark skinned. So there had to be some whiteness. And then if you look at my cousin's child, we look like the rainbow. So I'm knowing good and well there was some whiteness up in there. But that was interesting. And finding out the indigenous connection was also really interesting. So that's on my mother's side of the family. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show y'all a few pictures of the folks and people that I will have on my ofrenda this year and tell you just a little bit about them. So I just shared about my great great grandparents who I do not know their names, nor do I have any pictures of them. The comment says, so we was on point calling you Pikachu in college. Apparently y'all was on to something. Apparently. Okay. So these are my great grandparents. And so I got this picture just this year. I was talking to a cousin of mine, and he's from a different branch of the family. So not my grandmother, from my great aunt's branch of the family. And he sent me this picture. So this is my great grandmother and my great grandfather. And immediately when I looked at my great grandmother, I'm like, wow, I can definitely see the indigenous. She very much is what we would call red. And in New Orleans, a lot of people get called red. So she's definitely what we would call red. I did not know how I've never had a grandfather in my life, so I don't have concepts of what grandfathers look like or anything, but I didn't know what my great grandfather looked like. But that is who this is, and they are from Mississippi. And they left Mississippi and moved to New Orleans at some point, and that's how the family got to New Orleans. But they're actually from Mississippi. So this is my grandmother, and this picture was taken in 2017. This was shortly before she passed. And she developed dementia before she passed. And this was the last time that we had a gathering where all of her kids were there and most of her grandkids. So this is my grandmother. And definitely between my grandmother and my great grandmother, I can definitely see the similarities in their faces and all of that. So they are both going to be on my ofrenda. So my grandmother was born in 1938. She was a nurse. She worked in the emergency room, I believe, most of my life. One of the things that my cousins and I talk about all the time is that she used to iron, baby. Them scrubs used to be together. You understand me, honey? Stand them up by themselves. But she used to iron a lot. My grandmother also gardened. At one point, moved back to Mississippi. But there was this summer when we were kids, and I'm talking like before kindergarten. And I talk about this before because she taught me how to read and to write in cursive, and this was all during that summer. When I talk about getting kicked out the house because I was singing the greatest love of all, this was that summer. Kalanda, who's the oldest, then me, then my cousin Casey, and then we had another cousin, Chantel, who was there with us. And then I believe some other cousins came to visit. So anyway, but this summer was like, we're sitting on the porch eating watermelon, spitting seeds off the porch. We're looking at constellations in the sky because we're in the middle of the country. We're running down the fields, and she was growing stuff. There were crab apples. We're driving down back country roads in the car, calling it a roller coaster. Like, this summer was a summer that we really remembered. And unfortunately, I didn't really have a close relationship with my grandmother. So that's a core memory for me. So in this time, I've been wanting to invite her spirit back, and she definitely has visited. My grandmother sent me a message in Mexico City on Christmas Day, 2023. After I had had my mental health crisis, I had gone on a date on Christmas Day, and I was walking down this street in Coyoacan in Mexico City, and a song that my grandmother used to play all the time at the house came on. And the song goes, I miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you, miss you. It was very interesting. So I know that she's with me, and so she's going to be on my ofrenda as well. Now, speaking of grandmothers, I just recently was doing some research about my grandmother on my father's side because I don't really know a lot about her at all. And I found this picture when I was doing my research for, well, yeah, for this, but just in general. So this is my grandmother on my father's side. And I'm going to tell you what one of my uncles sent me something about her last night, because actually her birthday was yesterday. And that was like very interesting. So he said, your grandmother is from Port Arthur, Texas. She was born October 28th, 1920. Her maiden name was Reno. Her mother's name is Rebecca. Her father's name is Joe. Your grandmother was very spunky. She said whatever came up and out of her mouth. Now, this is what I definitely remember about my grandmother on my father's side, is that she said things. I just remember, this is what I remember. I remember she had thick glasses, that she always had some kind of drink, that she used to cuss. I don't remember if she used to smoke. My grandmother on my mother's side did smoke. And I remember I had staged a protest and I was like, I am not going to go over there anymore if she continues smoking, because now I am going to die from secondhand smoke and I don't even smoke. Like, because I would come home and everything would be smelling like smoke, and I don't want to do this. But anyways, so my grandmother on my father's side, I don't remember if she smoked, but I do remember she had a lot of things that she wanted to say. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of memories from her. I remember my mother dropping me off over there one time when I was a child, but I didn't know anything about her or my father's side of the family. And I was very confused about why I was there and who these people were. There were no other kids. It was not, I did not enjoy it. And unfortunately, my mother did not do a good job at all of helping me to stay in contact with my father's side of the family. So I don't have a lot of memories about my grandmother on my father's side, but I was watching something the other day and somebody said something like, it was in Coco, it was in the movie. They were like, you don't have to forgive them, but you shouldn't forget them. I really feel some type of way about my father's side of the family and them like forgetting about me. Like, and I know that this was in the 80s, right? So it's not like there was the internet and all that kind of stuff. And I was able to reconnect with the uncle probably about 10 years ago now. But it's weird to like know that there was a whole child that was out there and nobody came to look for the baby to make sure that the baby knew who she was. Like, that's really interesting to me. So I don't know how. I know my grandmother used to call the house. I also know my mother used to always be like, tell her I'm not here. I don't want to talk to her. And I picked up those same type of habits. And because I didn't have a relationship with them, it was just kind of like, I don't know you all. But I do feel like the burden was on the adults to look for the baby and make sure that the baby is okay. Like, I just really feel like that's what that should look like. So I'm still, kind of working through that and trying to figure out how I feel about that and what that looks like as I'm in my 40s. So having said that, you all are probably asking yourself like, okay, but what happened with your father? So I'm going to show you the only picture that I have of my father. So my father died before I was born. And the story that I received is that he unalived himself. I do not know if that story is true. I have never seen a newspaper article, though I was told that there was an article. But I've never seen it. The only person that was there was my mother, and she is not a reliable source of information. So I really don't know much about my father. What I have been told about my father, and I've written blog posts about this, like, it's a lie. But what I do remember it being told about my father is that my father was excited to have a little girl, and he was calling me his princess and all of that. I definitely, as a child, spent a lot of time trying to talk to my father. Like, I used to be like, why did you leave me here? What is going on? And I don't know that as a child I necessarily felt his presence, and I definitely look for it now as an adult. But I definitely do see myself in my father, that's for sure. I definitely see myself, and the comment says you look so much like him. Yeah, I definitely see my face in my father's face. So I know that he is here, but again, it's really weird to just have no connection, and this is the only picture that I have. So I did reach out to my uncle, who is his brother, and ask him if he has additional pictures. Like, can you tell me things? Like, I don't know anything like about him at all. I do know that his birthday is August 29th, which is actually the same day as Hurricane Katrina. So that's always a very interesting time to kind of process that, and the gravity of what that means. So that's my grandma, my great grandparents on my mother's side, my maternal great grandparents that I'll have on my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my paternal grandmother, my father. And then there is one more maternal figure that will be on my ofrenda. I don't know my father at all and have been wanting to know more about my lineage as well. Yeah, it's only natural. Like, we should know something about the people that brought us into the earth. Like, it feels so weird to not. Like, it's I don't know how to make it make sense. So this is Miss Dillon. And y'all have heard me talk about Miss Dillon before. Miss Dillon was my high school guidance counselor. And she was, I always get so teary when I talk about Miss Dillon. I think the reason I get teary when I talk about Miss Dillon is because she saw me and I really got a chance to let her know how much she meant to me and how much her showing up for me meant to me. And that she didn't really know, she had no idea what was going on, but she knew enough to do the job that she was supposed to do. And that picture is of her. I did a what do they call it? When a bunch of authors contribute to a book, but this was a devotional. And so I was one of the authors that was a part of the project. And she bought my book and she took a picture and was just so supportive during that time. And I'm just so grateful that I got a chance to tell her how much she meant to me and how important that she was in my life. Um, before she passed, because I had been looking for her for years. And one of the things when I just mentioned earlier about my father's family not looking for me or like forgetting about me after Hurricane Katrina, which happened in 2005, it was very difficult to find people. Like, there was, again, social media was just coming up for real. So it's just really hard to find where people were. And so, social media also helped me find Miss Dillon because she found me on Facebook, and she found me in 2020 during COVID times because everyone was on the internet and like doing things, and some kind of way I came up in her algorithm. So she found me in 2020, and then by December of 2021 she had passed. So, but within that year, baby, when I tell you every live I did, Miss Dillon was on that live. If I was talking about a journal or a product or something, she was buying it. If I was sharing, I don't know, whatever I was doing, she was in them comments, let me know that she was there. So this year, I want to have Miss Dillon on my ofrenda because I do believe she's also a Delta. She is the main reason why I pledged Delta. And she was just really a role model for me. So, Miss Dillon. will also be on the ofrenda. Now, the last spot on the ofrenda goes to Jack. Now, Jack was my puppy. I had Jack for 10 years. I got Jack during the time that I was trapped in that abusive relationship. We got Jack in 2009. And at some point along that way, as I saw how he was treating Jack in comparison to how I was treating Jack, I said, Jack is coming to my house. And then Jack became my dog. So this is Lil Jack Jackson when he was a little bitty baby. This is in July of 2009, the first day that he came home. And Jack was a character, y'all. Jack was a character, y'all. Jack was Houdini. He knew how to break out of spaces. He knew how to unlock the doors. He knew how to open the doorknob. He knew how to open the garage. He tried to hotwire the garage to open it so that he could go gallivanting around the neighborhood. Jack was a trip. Okay, a trip. But we went through so much together. So Jack wound up developing epilepsy. And because of that, he had to get on medication, and the medication made his hind legs weak. So it was a blessing and a curse because before that, when I tell you he was tearing my house up, and I had just bought this house. I bought my house in September of 2009. I just told you we got him in July of 2009. The first time I brought Jack to the house, I was like, Jack, you're going to have the whole guest room. The whole guest room is yours. I leave Jack in the house. I come back from work, and Jack has torn up all the carpet in the brand new house that I was only in for 2 weeks. He has separation anxiety. So we really had to work through a lot to help him to get over that. And he used to be afraid of storm drains. So we had to like walk one night. We just spent all night walking back and forth in front of the storm drain and sitting by the storm drain because I don't know what happened. We had gotten him from the animal shelter. So I don't know what happened before he became my dog, but we had to go through rehabilitation, you know. And speaking of rehabilitation, there were points during my time with Jack that I didn't know if he was going to be able to walk anymore because his hind legs were getting so weak from the medication. And there were times that I thought I was going to have to buy him a doggy wheelchair. Jack had his own credit card because if he would start having seizures, we would have to go to the hospital because they wouldn't stop. And so we had to learn how to control that. And it was a lot. But when I tell you, Jack held me down, baby. Jack held me down. All right. And I'm so appreciative because in I want to say January of 2019, Jack was diagnosed with cancer. And they gave him until, I want to say they said like 6 to 8 weeks. And they asked me, you know, if I wanted to do chemo and radiation and all of that. And I didn't have the funds to do it. But also, he had been through so much by this time that and it was only like 50% chance of working or something. And I was like, we not doing that. So I really just focused on giving him some beautiful last days. So, I'm grateful because he made that transition with me out of my house, even through when I was supposed to get married, and didn't get married. And Jack was still there, like hanging on. And so I know that a part of me being able to leave the US, to leave Florida, all of that. I was able to do that, and I was able to feel freer in that because Jack made the choice to go ahead and cross over the Rainbow Bridge. And I didn't have to make that decision because I don't feel like I would have been able to do it. I think I would have stayed for him because his doctors were there, and everything, his doggy daycare was there, and they were like amazing. So I wouldn't have been able to just pack him up and take him away from all of that to go and do whatever I felt like I was doing. So I feel like he really gave me permission to be like, go live your life, because the 10 years prior to that, it was all about him. Like my schedule was around him, like when he had to eat, when he had to go out, like all the things. I have a dog, like I have to be responsible. And so with him transitioning, it allowed me to be able to focus on me, and so I really appreciated that. I also, though, have felt him because when I was in Mexico City, for instance, there was one of my favorite dog parks. And it was at my favorite park, but it was like a huge, huge, huge dog park. And the thing about Mexico is they got dogs everywhere. Street dogs, people's dogs, just dogs. Dogs are very free in Mexico. And I would just be like, man, Jack would be having the time of his life right now. Being able to freely gallivant around the streets, oh, Jack would have had a time. Okay. So I take his spirit with me as well everywhere I go, knowing y'all, Lucy done showed up at the door. Hello, Lucy. She hear me in here talking about Jack. Now she like, I want to be an Alabria. Girl, it ain't your time. Um, but yeah, it really I take Jack with me everywhere that I go because I feel like it was me and him. That was me and my dog. Like the amount of, literally me and my dog, the amount of road trips that we would take home to New Orleans. And like there was a time that Jack was doing water therapy in New Orleans. I had found this center that did rehabilitation for dogs. And so Jack was swimming and he did the water treadmill and he was doing magnetic therapy. Like, that was my boy. That was my boy. So Jack is also going to be on my ofrenda this year. So I'm really excited about Dia de los Muertos, and I'm excited about building the ofrendas. I have to go to the market tomorrow to get the things that I need. So I'll be doing a vlog for those of you who are in the inner circle. You'll be able to see the vlog that I do when I go to the market. And I'm probably gonna go live when I'm setting up the ofrenda. So it's gonna be behind me. There's some shelves that are right here. So I got to figure out how I'm going to decorate and all that kind of stuff. But I'm really excited about Dia de los Muertos this year. And I'm excited to expand who is on my ofrenda and also to learn more about the people that whose blood that I carry in me, and consistently seeking just understanding, of who I am. I've shared, I believe, with you all here before, but definitely also, put syrup on your grilled cheese. Our people originate in Cameroon from the Tikar, the Hausa, and Fulani tribes. And so I also want to like look into that a little bit and see how I can honor that heritage as well during this time. So I challenge you to think about how you can honor your family this Dia de los Muertos. You may not have an ofrenda, but at least just taking time to pause and think about your lineage and think about the where you came from, and then inviting them to commune with you. And I know for some folks that might sound real woo woo and oh my gosh, we don't do that and all of that. But what I do want you to know is that every time in the Bible that they talked about somebody or they introduced a new biblical character, if you will, they gave us their lineage. Lineage matters. And I think it's important for us to be able to have that grounding to understand these are the things that I want to carry forth with me, and maybe these are the things that I don't. But having that knowledge and understanding of who we are and where we come from is important, especially for us as Black people. So, my question to you would be, how are you going to honor your ancestors that came before you? I also want to ask, because for some of us, the stories may not bring a lot of smiles, and there may be some places there that we need to heal. Though people may have gone on and may not have shown up the way that we wanted them to on this side of life, a lot of times what happens is they're trying to right things from the other side. So maybe be curious about what that might look like and what it might look like to rectify, or not even rectify, just acknowledge that relationship, even though they are no longer here with us, because they still are a part of our story and who we are as people. So I'll leave you with that. This is the last thing I want to do. I'm going to read you the lyrics from my favorite song from Coco, and that's how we're going to close today. This is how I want to close for today, with the lyrics from Remember Me, which again is one of the songs that's in the movie Coco. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me, don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. Until you're in my arms again, remember. That's it. That's all. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me and for witnessing my tour around Dia de los Muertos and holding space for all of the emotions that come along with that. I can't wait to read your comments about how this impacted you, or how you're going to be honoring your family and your ancestors. Okay? So I will see y'all next time. All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.